Okay, so I'm here today on a new construction job site working on speccing out a 14 by 14 return in the ceiling and in the floor. What I wanted to point out though is the best way to do that is, for sure when you're working on the floor, is to look at the joists, see where they are. In this case, the joists run like this, and then I can know that I've got at least 14.5 inches in between them approximately, because they're 16 inch on center. And then use your thermostat wires with a 1/8 inch drill bit right here to drill a hole, and then stick your wires down through the hole so that you can go into the crawl space and actually see from the bottom side where you're located. And I've done that in all 4 corners.
So I'm at Mr. Miller's house. Right when I walked up, I knew something was going on here. So you got beef end up there, and this single wall, all that's single wall. And the big thing is that big old crack right there. And they had it taped up and it melted. So all that's been venting in the crawl space. So we're gonna get that fixed up. So took that off, replaced it all with double type V vent all the way up. It's nice and solid. So I'm over here at Hallie Morgan's house. This is an old Carrier, and you can't, it's real hard to get these screws out to get them out to clean. But this burner was dead. The flame sensor's under it, so you got to take it out to get to the flame sensor. So it wasn't, flame sensor's nice and clean now, but it wasn't picking up that flame sensor, so it would just run for 2 or 3 seconds and just keep doing that. She said it was heating sometimes it wasn't. It would only work with the fan in the on position. That's because the unit wasn't telling the fan to come on, because it wasn't detecting a flame. But I got them all out and cleaned up, and it's firing up real good now. I'm at Hallie's again. I just wanted to show this for the video. I think we all know how to do it, but it's that path right there for the gas. It was full of rust. Nice and clean now.
Alright, here I am at Miss Margaret Newberry's in her upstairs system. I got one probe drilled into the plenum here. Stick it in and face it towards the airflow, so the arrow will be towards the return for your return side. And same thing in the supply. You face your supply one towards your airflow. And on the return I got negative 0.21, and on the supply I got 15, so together that equals 36. So her static pressure is only 36 and the system is rated for 0.5. If you can see it right there, maximum outlook. Unit tested at 0.5 inches water column, external static pressure. And here I am again at Miss Newberry's in her office system. Got the 2 probes in, and it's only 0.26 internal static pressure.
I'm headed out on a call here for a no heat call, and it's the complaint from the customer is that the heating system is not functioning and their thermostat won't change settings, is what they say. So at first, your first impression might be that, hey, this is defective thermostat, but you got to be thinking about all kinds of things that could be causing this problem. The number one thing that this particular call is a mobile home with an electric furnace. So the number one thing that we'll be checking immediately is to verify that we have 24 volt control voltage, and that will be established by checking at the furnace, on the transformer, making sure you have high voltage, low voltage, and then actually checking out the thermostat to make sure that it's actually the issue. So just as a technician, it's important to be processing all that in your mind. And okay, so I'm working on a furnace here. You can see that we've got the power coming in. This is a 60 amp. We've got 2 kits here. That's 10 kW. I'm checking volt or amps on this, and I'm only getting a reading of 22.3. So that means that my 5 kW is only engaged. So if I come over here and I check with my meter, I check across the top of the sequencer right here. You'll see I'm not getting a reading, which is good. That means that it's working properly. And if I take a check, oops, so here, stay, take a check right here, I'm getting a reading of, I can't quite get it in the shot. But it's reading 240 volts. So that means that it's not engaging all the way across there. So we've got a bad sequencer. Okay, so we take and pull the screw out. And the best thing to do is then take this whole thing out of here and just pivot it out like that right there. Okay, now that you get the new one out of the box.
Are you in school, sweetie? You're not.
And pivot it in there and put your screw in. So what I like to do when I'm replacing these is I like to unplug wire for wire, and then I can plug each wire on the new one as I'm putting on the old one. So the next one I'll take off is that one right there. A lot of them ride the school bus. So one thing you got to watch when you're pulling wires off is that they get a little bit
one of the Isaac's
opened
girls
up.
was in my class at school.
Oh yeah, which one was that? And then you take and,
Wava Isaac.
oh yeah, I know Miss Wava. You pinch that down a little bit and you try to do it on the back. More on the back side so that you don't pinch it too tight and you can't get it on. Okay, we got the new one in. We've got the old one out, and now we turn power on. So you can see that it's pulling 2.0 amps, but so we've heard the first click and the second click, and now it's pulling 43, almost 44 amps. And so that means that both of those heat kits have energized now. Before we were pulling only 20, now we're pulling 40, full 10 kW.